Have you ever reflected on how appearances can be deceiving and how superficial assumptions often fail to capture a person's true essence? In fact, judgments based solely on physical appearance can be unfair and limiting. Let me tell you a story that explores how we should look beyond appearances to understand someone's true value. In the historic city of Charleston, South Carolina, where the streets are adorned with majestic oaks and ancient mansions that tell stories of past generations, there lived a lady named Beatrice. At 89 years old, Beatrice was a revered figure in the community, known for her wisdom, kindness, and talent for storytelling that left a lasting impression on all who heard her tales. Her silver hair was always meticulously styled, and her green eyes sparkled with a liveliness that belied her age. Beatrice lived in a beautiful colonial-style house, surrounded by a lush garden that she tended to with dedication. Her plants were as well cared for as the people in her life, and the garden was a place where she often sat to meditate and reflect on the lessons life had taught her. The inhabitants of the city, young and old, often visited Beatrice seeking advice or just to hear her stories. One mild spring afternoon, as a gentle breeze brought the scent of freshly bloomed flowers, a young woman named Amelia went to visit Beatrice. Amelia, a woman in her 30s, was troubled by something she had recently heard, something that left her uneasy and insecure. "Mrs. Beatrice," Amelia began, her voice filled with doubt and hesitation, "I have been thinking a lot about something I heard. People make assumptions about us based on our appearance, especially about physical traits like the size of certain body parts. This has left me worried. Do these assumptions have any foundation?" Beatrice, always patient and welcoming, smiled warmly at Amelia and invited her to sit with her on the porch, where they could enjoy the gentle sound of leaves swaying in the wind. "My dear," Beatrice said, her voice soft and comforting, "the assumptions people make based on physical appearance are generally unfounded and can be extremely harmful. The true essence of a person cannot be measured or defined by superficial traits. Let me tell you a story that might help you better understand this issue." As the distant sound of the sea blended with the birds singing, Beatrice began her tale. "Many years ago, I met a woman named Eleanor. Eleanor was a strong, intelligent, and confident person, but like many women, she faced judgments and assumptions based on her physical appearance. She was tall, with a body that some considered out of the ordinary, and from a young age, Eleanor had learned to ignore the hurtful comments. However, every now and then, they still affected her." Amelia listened intently, immersed in the narrative as Beatrice continued. "Eleanor always valued character and the essence of people more than appearances. She believed that true beauty came from within and that a person's actions were what really mattered. One time, during a social gathering, she overheard someone make a comment about the size of her breasts and what that supposedly indicated about her as a woman. Although Eleanor had learned to be resilient, that comment deeply troubled her. Beatrice paused, allowing the words to resonate in Amelia's mind. Eleanor always believed that her worth as a person was not in her appearance, but in who she was on the inside, in her kindness, her intelligence, and her inner strength. However, that comment made her question how others saw her and whether these misconceptions could affect her life and her relationships. In the days that followed, Eleanor began to reflect on the assumptions people make and how they can be harmful. She decided that she would not let the superficial opinions of others define who she was or how she felt about herself. Instead, she used this experience as an opportunity to strengthen her self-esteem and help other women do the same. Eleanor began to openly talk with her friends and colleagues about the importance of not allowing appearances or others' judgments to affect their self-esteem. She encouraged other women to value themselves for who they were on the inside, not by what others said or thought. For Eleanor, Beatrice continued, the true worth of a person lay in their ability to love, to care, to be authentic, and to live a full and meaningful life. As Eleanor continued to promote these ideas, she became a source of inspiration for many women around her. She organized gatherings at her home, where women of all ages could share their experiences and discuss how to overcome superficial judgments. These meetings soon became a safe space where women could express themselves freely, away from the critical eyes of society. At one of these gatherings, Eleanor met a young woman named Grace, who was struggling with the same insecurities that she had faced years ago. Grace was an intelligent and talented woman, but she constantly felt inadequate because of the comments she received about her appearance. "Eleanor," Grace said during one of those meetings, "I always feel inferior because people judge me by my body. I feel like I'll never be enough, no matter what I do." Eleanor, with her calm and steady voice, replied, "Grace, I understand how you feel. I have been exactly where you are now. But I want you to know that a person's worth cannot be measured by the size of a part of their body. Your true value lies in who you are, in how you treat others, and in how you live your life. Don't let the superficial judgments of others determine your worth." Grace, touched by Eleanor's words, began to reflect on her own life and how she saw herself. Over time, and with the support of Eleanor and the other women in the group, Grace started to view herself differently. She learned to ignore negative comments and to focus on what truly mattered: her intelligence, her talent, and her ability to make a difference in the world. As Grace grew in confidence, she also began to help other women overcome their own insecurities. She became an advocate for self-love and acceptance, and her words began to resonate throughout the community. The meetings organized by Eleanor continued to grow, and soon they became a local movement that inspired women to love themselves and value who they truly were. Beatrice, watching Amelia absorb every word, felt a deep sense of satisfaction. "My dear," she said, "Eleanor's story teaches us that assumptions based on appearances are often wrong and harmful. What matters is how you see yourself and how you value who you really are. Don't let the superficial judgments of others define your worth or limit your potential." Amelia, reflecting on the story of Eleanor and Grace, realized that her own insecurities were, for the most part, the result of superficial assumptions that did not reflect her true essence. She decided that instead of worrying about what others thought, she would focus her energy on being the best version of herself, a kind, intelligent, and authentic person. In the months that followed, Amelia began to apply this new perspective in her life. She became more confident, more secure in who she was, and started to help other women do the same. Amelia became an inspiration to those around her, showing them that a person's true value comes from within, not from external appearances. Beatrice, seeing Amelia blossom in her new understanding, felt a quiet satisfaction. She knew that Eleanor's story had helped Amelia find the confidence to value herself for what truly mattered and to ignore the superficial judgments that others might make. Thus, the city of Charleston continued to be a place where stories were told with purpose, where wisdom was passed down from generation to generation, and where each person learned to value true essence above all. Beatrice, with her experience and kindness, continued to guide those who sought answers, helping them to find their own truths through the stories she told. If this story touched your heart and you believe in the importance of valuing essence over appearances, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Together, we will continue exploring the many facets of self-love and true human connection. Until next time.